She is a co-host and producer of Candidates for Assange.org and an election security activist. Please welcome back to the show, Kelley Lane.
Hey, hello. Kelley. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I should also have added, I really do most of my work behind the scenes. I worked on Randy Credico's Assange Countdown to Freedom for 4 years, and I still do some editing for him now for Live on the Fly, which is on WBAI in New York, but I usually create a little video version just to keep interest on YouTube whenever it's not pulled, that is, from YouTube. But no, thank you for having me. This conversation is so important. Well, I'll let you, why don't you tell me what you want? I've got a couple clips. I don't know if you want to play those. I also put segments of the Charlie Kirk letter that Netanyahu just released. Yes. So I put some of that in the, you can see it, I guess, in the
we will get to the letter because that's some new stuff that came out. And I would actually love to break that down with you. I'm going to start off by saying this. And I appreciate us having this discussion because it comes on the heels of noticing that it feels like there's people not doing an honest job, or maybe a sloppy job, or maybe they're confused. I don't know what it is, but why are we not approaching the story like we do with everything else? Why are we not going down the path of journalism? It seems like, and people are saying that the person in front right now is Candace Owen. She's the only one that's asking the questions. And like, well, why is she only having, why is Candace Owen the one reporting this stuff? Why is no one else getting it? Well, because people know better. Who are they going to go to the FBI and give information to Kash Patel? No, they'll never see it again. They're going to people that they can trust. Hey, Candace, I have some information for you. I remember when a week ago, Candace was first to report on this, and I think this is very important. This is the security cam from a nearby Dairy Queen that was estimated to be 17 minutes of a drive away from the crime scene. And this is Tyler Robinson ordering some food. And, you know, the fact that this doesn't go on the register of Kash Patel and the FBI should tell you enough. Just this. There's so much other stuff. So much. One more just about Candace, because just today, she got communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And this was told to her from the family themselves. And this, again, these are the type of things that goes 100% against the narrative that we're being told to just put up and shut up about it. But this is what the family's actually saying.
The family says that the photo of the young man that is coming up the stairs, which was shared, that blurry image, is definitively not Tyler Robinson. And let me just say, I never thought it looked like him. Neither did you. Okay. Face looks different. Face looks more narrow. Also, that person looks taller. Every time I say, I'm like, this person is taller than Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson also appears to have full lips, even though this image is blurry. We're not looking for someone that got fuller lips. And Tyler Robinson looks broader than that individual walking, right? So I'm on board with that person walking up the stairs. It's not Tyler Robinson, because I feel like it was intentionally blurred. They also never gave us the footage at all, because in order to blur it, they probably needed a static image. Also, the family believes that, and this is really interesting, Tyler Robinson's apartment was staged after his arrest. Now, you will recall that I spoke to Lance's family. And one of the things that Lance's family said was, hey, we own that apartment. They pay rent to us. We've never met Tyler Robinson. But I can tell you that it seems like they were trying to hide the fact that this apartment got raided. And it's very strange that they immediately cleared Lance as a suspect. And I was told by other people in the department that they wanted to keep that raid very hush-hush. They didn't want anybody to know about the raid. There was no mention of this raid. And Lance immediately gets cleared as a suspect. Why? Well, according to Tyler's family, they went to that apartment after his arrest, and they felt the apartment was staged, and that intentionally in Tyler's room, a furry bed was placed, almost sort of implying that they're trying to transfer the attributes of Lance onto Tyler. And that's shady. But again, when I put together what I'm being told by Lance's family and what I'm hearing from the Robinson family through a third party, I will say that it matches. It kind of seems like they're agreeing. One family's going, hey, Lance is kind of evil. Why is he getting cleared? The other one's going, Tyler's not this guy. Tyler is not this guy. So what the hell is going on, guys? What is actually going on right now?
So that to me looks like honest journalism. I think that it's okay that we want to maybe look at people's funding. We had this conversation. I had it on Truthwire with Fiorella and Craig about how we have to look at where outlets are getting their funding. I think it's a very, very honest question to ask. But I think the first and foremost question we need to ask is the information being presented. Can we challenge that information? Is there holes in what's being presented? Can we look at that information and then get an honest take on that? And then we can maybe secondarily we can go to the person, go, hey, well, where's this funding coming from? What But if we're trying to do an honest investigation, we should be looking at all this, and we shouldn't have things like this where Shadow of Ezra tweets out that Candace seems to be the only one that's questioning all, and none of his other closest friends. They're all staying silent. Why is this happening? What is going on here? She says she's the only one demanding answers, even though everyone else can see there's clearly holes in this narrative. So who's going to step up and talk about this stuff without like pretend like sweeping it all under the rug? So I'll pass it to you, Kelley. But I want to get in some of the other stuff as well. But this is my opening just concern is us in this space. Why are we attacking each other and not looking at the actual evidence that's coming into play?
Exactly. Well, I just want to say, because a lot of people may not know much, just where I'm coming from, like politically. I am a very strong independent. I typically vote Green. I have voted Democrat, never voted Republican, nothing against Republicans. But so to say I don't have a bias either way. And I will say I've never watched Candace Owens until this happened, but I have been watching her live streams for the past, whenever she started, I guess right after it happened, because she did seem to be the only person that, she was genuinely very upset because he was her friend, but she was just going through and presenting the evidence. And I've had pushback, why are you listening to Candace Owens? It's not about the personality. I'm going wherever I can go to find information. And I think we're so programmed to just, this left-right thing, which obviously, and you and Pasta and Fee got into that a bit, how this is being used to divide people more. But also, in regards to Charlie Kirk, I just want to say before this happened, this is how much of bubbles we're in, right? Because I'm kind of on the independent left media, and I really did not know much of anything about Charlie Kirk. The most I knew was because I had to dig in and find out there was this viral video that was put out initially by Rachel Maddow, but about Trump saying we don't need votes. We have all. Have you seen this? And
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's saying, well, the election activists on the Dem side are saying this is evidence that Trump stole it, which is just absurd. But what he was actually quoting was what Charlie Kirk had told him, saying we have such a big ground game for young people voting for you that we got this down, like it's done, right? So that's how I knew even who he was, because he's just not somebody I would listen to. And I understand there's a lot of controversial stuff that he said, and my daughter was like, why are you defending him or anything? And that's not it at all. I don't care. This was obviously, I think pretty obviously, a political assassination. I mean, I don't buy the lone gunman thing. And so I think what we should be concerned about is that in this country, you can be killed for what you say and what you think. And I think that's just absolutely terrifying. So because I knew so little about him, I went to Tucker Carlson interview with him. And I have mixed feelings about Tucker Carlson. I think he has some good guests on, but and they're pretty thorough interviews. So I went to that, and I don't know if you ever watched these, but I was in your chat, like just putting all the quotes from the interview, because I was so frustrated with the fact that I don't think people are looking at from this angle.
Right.
But so it's two separate clips I've got. I would love to play them. But
sure.
So it's two separate clips, 12 minutes total, of what I thought was the most important part of his very long interview, with Tucker Carlson, and has very little to do with Israel. So I think when you hear this, it blew my mind. So I'd love to play it if it.
Okay. Happening between Russia, Ukraine, and the West's support of it actually was an extension of Russiagate, because part of one of the unintended consequences of Russiagate, unintended, I think actually intended, but unintended from our perspective, because we were so focused on the Trump component, was how it was desensitizing the Democrat Party to hate Russia. If you think about it, Donald Trump was the worst villain ever in the history of the world, according to the Democrat Party. So they needed to have an explanation as to how this guy won. Because, of course, it can't be the fact that they deindustrialized Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, flooded the country with a bunch of illegals, and allowed opioids into the country. There must be another reason. So they tried Cambridge Analytica first. Do you remember that was the first attempt?
Yes.
The Cambridge Analytica thing, that it was Donald Trump's ability to get in the back end of Facebook. That's why he won. But that didn't really satisfy the Democrats. And so simultaneously, we know this because the Russia narrative came ex nihilo. It came out of nowhere. Tulsi is getting to the bottom of it. And I'm not going to pretend to know all the details of what she's working on. And I've been cheering her on, sending her text messages saying, you go, Tulsi, you go, because it's so wrong what happened to President Trump and so wrong what happened to our country. But when you think about it, it desensitized the entire Democrat Party to then have a very negative view of Russia, even beyond a normative Western view of Russia, as if Donald Trump is an attaché of the Kremlin. And if you hate Trump, you therefore must also hate Putin and Russia. So fast forward to Putin's invasion of Ukraine, you had the entire Democrat Party and the base of the Democrat Party that used to be anti-war, that used to be where the Ben and Jerry's guy was. You had him on your show. It was great. But the rank and file kind of had a subdued response at best to the financing of the Russian-Ukrainian war, largely because of Russiagate, because so many base members of the Democrat Party and the activists were led to believe that Donald Trump only became president because of the assistance of the Kremlin. I mean, you know this. You helped lead the, I don't want to say even anti-war, just the skepticism from the West viewpoint that why are we sending all this money to Ukraine? Is it good for us? That used to be a left-wing thing. That used to always be driven from the base of the Democrat Party. And from AOC to Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders, they were largely silent on the amount of money that we sent to Ukraine. So why? Is it because they started to love war? No, it's because Putin became an acceptable villain for the Democrat Party, because they made the archetype of villain and the archetype of Putin and Trump to be kind of one and the same. That all goes back to Russiagate. It goes back to the lie of the dirty dossier. It goes back to how our intel agencies were then used inwardly against us. And that has really been the story the last 30 to 40 years. And you deserve a lot of credit for covering this, which is our intel services are supposed to gather intelligence and defend the homeland and to keep us domestically safe. But it turns out they're actually more about picking winners and losers in American elections and to thwart the will of popular sovereignty. So I hope that we get to the bottom of this, because we are still dealing with the real world ramifications. You have to wonder how many Ukrainians and Russians, by the way, because people are dying on both sides of this war that are made in the image of God, are unnecessarily dead because of what our intel services did in 2016 and 2017.
I'm going to pause there. I just pointing this part out. Isn't it interesting that he's not attacking Democratic voters and he's not punching at people and being mean? He's actually calling out the Democrat apparatus, the thing at the top. It sounds to me as a guy with a little sympathy as to how this can happen. The operation, the top-down operation, the control, the psychological warfare that is implemented on people who he said at the very beginning of the clip. He's talking about how these are people that didn't think this way until this apparatus was unleashed on them.
Right.
That's not very thoughtful to me. That's just my take.
Right. Now, I will say I cringed at I despise the term illegals. I just,
of course.
And obviously that's where he comes from on that. And,
sure.
But I mean, anyway, I didn't cut it out because I wanted it to stay.
Yeah.
You know.
So to answer your question, I hope people start to go to jail. We need perp walks. We need handcuffs. We need mass arrests, because you're not allowed to steal precious time of a presidency away from the American people that otherwise would have been spent on governing. This is now the big fight in front of Trump 2. And everyone knows it. We ran on it. We said it. And I think we're now going to get massive action in that direction from hopefully Cash and Dan and Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, the whole gang. They're focused on this. And I think they're looking for the right place to strike, which is who actually runs this government. The first term we were kind of under this very naive idea that the people run the government. And then we were like, well, it's the lobbyists. But after, I think, 7 or 8 years, and it's taken time, it's the administrative state and the intel agencies.
Yes.
It's this fourth branch of government that the founders never created, they never designed, there was no intent for. And that fourth branch of government is unaccountable, has unknown biographies of people that are running it, and they're there for unlimited amounts of time. There's no term limits, they're not elected, and they're unelected.
I mean, he's saying some really dangerous things there.
Right. Total extremist.
And it's not in this clip or the other one, because I was sticking to kind of the Russiagate and the intel agencies.
Sure.
But I would suggest anyone, even if you can't stand Tucker Carlson, just watch this interview, because there's another part where he goes into the economic struggle of young people. He's talking about young conservatives, mainly his listeners, but he's saying, he's informing Tucker, do you know you can like finance a pizza? And there are I forget what the names of the different financial, I can't remember what they're called. Somebody would know, maybe that's listening, but where you can like do a pay later on almost anything that you order, groceries or whatever.
Sure.
There were like 3 different, I think, financial instruments. He's talking about that. And, when I heard that, I instantly thought of MLK. And it was like, he started saying things like, what good is it if I can sit at the lunch counter, but I can't afford a hamburger? And then he started talking about the Vietnam War.
Oh, yeah.
And when you start saying those things, I mean, so that really, I know everyone jumped on Israel, but for me, I was like, okay, well, there are multiple reasons that he could have mobilized a lot of people to really raise all these questions about what really happened with Russiagate. I think I've mentioned this before, the one other time I was on your show. I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard at all.
Sure,
and I'm
yeah.
really shocked that so many people still do. And I used to catch hell back in, when she was a Democrat. I mean, I thought she was great when she stepped down from the DNC, for Bernie. But she's such a chameleon. And then, I've got more clips I could play, but, can't think of his name right now, Abby Morton's husband. But he went into this thing on a show where she's in psychological operations.
Yeah.
She does it overseas, like in Africa, but we'll see what happens with Russiagate. I think that he was also I think Charlie Kirk was very dangerous in putting the pressure on. I mean, he's saying, we want arrests, we want perp walks. Who's really running the government? I think it's important we hear his words, because the man is dead. And I know he said a lot of awful things that are circulating around, but I think it's important people know full context of other things he said that might have led to his assassination. Who knows?
Is that this next bill is going to be passed, whatever like perfunctory bill they have to pass, is going to try to neuter DNI. Is that they want to try to wall off
CIA
Liberty Crossing.
wants Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, and the other people, the director of National Intelligence, and that whole
apparatus,
which was created after 9/11.
Which is hilarious because it was created by the worst people.
Exactly.
And now it's actually it's a central nervous system for us to look under the hood, and they know it. I don't know all the details of this. Someone texted me yesterday and they said, hey, we have to make sure that Tulsi does not get basically, neutered in this whole process, that it just kind of becomes a ceremonial.
She's the one person you shouldn't doge.
No, in fact, Tulsi, and this is very important, the intel agencies by far have the least proportional civilian control versus careers.
That's exactly right. CIA has like 3 or 4.
And Ratcliffe is, fighting for his life there. And it's like, who runs, you have all these unknown amounts of people, and what are they doing? And it's a black box budget. And I believe that all roads lead back to the intel agencies on all this stuff. And so, but Tulsi is now getting under the hood. This revelation of Russiagate is massive. It's huge.
I know.
And God bless her for doing this. And I know the president cares about it personally, as he should, because how much of his life and his energy was just spent defending against a fabrication, not a fabrication of the Chinese Communist Party, by the way, not a fabrication of our adversaries, a fabrication of our own government. That's what makes this so sinister. is that our own government was turned against the duly elected president. So here we are now in the year of our Lord 2025. Who's running the United States government?
Great question.
And President Trump, he is now the hunter. He was the hunted back in the first term. I know what the grassroots want. I know what President Trump wants. We need perp walks. We need arrests. We need accountability. And if we do not smash the administrative state and the deep state in the coming 6 to 12 months, then we're actually not going to bring this entire intelligence apparatus to heel. We have to lance the boil because it's gone so out of control. And I can tell you, they are deeply fearful of this movement. They know that we are aware. They know that we are noticing things, that we're seeing patterns, that we know how powerful the intel agencies have become. And so that's why I think Russiagate really matters, is that it's a way to hold them accountable, to see how dark and honestly demonic their activities have become.
Yes.
And hopefully an opportunity to fulfill a mandate that President Trump ran on, and I still know believes to this day, which is to bring the deep state to hopefully smash it, or at the very least bring it back into balance.
And the deep state is the intelligencies.
Well, that's the shadow government, right?
CIA.
It's not the deep state. Look,
it's not the education department.
If I could chime in, so there's two types of deep state, right? There's the Department of Education.
How much you want to bet he's not going to mention the Mossad, right? Because this is too early for that, right? This is before he started talking publicly about Israel, right?
I think so, because wasn't that just early August?
Yes.
So I think this was in July.
This was in July. So it was he got friendly with Tucker here because they were obviously agreeing on Ukraine, that they aligned on that. They aligned on elements of CIA deep state stuff. But I think that at some point when he brought Tucker onto the turning point stage, then we started having the larger conversation about who's in charge,
right,
and who's really in charge. But this is certainly interesting stuff that he was on the right side with Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. It was mentioned on your other show that, well, yeah, of course, Russia, he's going to be for that because the right, that has nothing to do with it. Like, I think I made the comment in the chat, it could be Zimbabwe. It doesn't really matter. It's the fact that he's calling out that he basically pins all these dead people in Ukraine and Russia on an operation, a U.S. intel operation in 2016. And that is that's some serious stuff.
I mean, it's important to see these conversations because obviously, I'm like you. I don't have the history of following Charlie Kirk to detail because there was so much else we're covering that when this happened, I was like, oh no, let's look. This looks off. Let's look into it. And we saw all the stuff he said in the last month. It's important to look further back and see where he stood on. And I saw that, he's where he stands on Ukraine, where he stands on a lot of these issues that seem to be aligned with a populist voice that's not necessarily 100% MAGA. We know that he's been for free speech to a degree. The idea that you're willing to hand the microphones over to people and have debates, there's something to be said about that versus the ADL that goes around and their job is to turn people off and not only not let you talk, their job is to make it criminal and call you a terrorist for having a point of view and a critique against Israel. And some say that it was actually the crowds that Charlie Kirk talked with that started planting the seeds. There were people that every once in a while you get a very articulate student that would say, hey, do you know about 9/11? Do you know about these things? Do you know about do you know about the money, the paper trail there? Do you know about these wars that we've been fighting on behalf of Netanyahu? And he had a look on his face like, oh.
We have to remember, he was 31 years old.
Yeah, he didn't know.
You don't get a proper education in this country about what's really happened, Yeah. And so I'm not excusing any of the bad things that he said, I understand he was very divisive, and I don't condone any of that stuff that he said, but I think there was, who knows where he would have ended up on all this. And, thank you to the person in the audience. Yes, Michael Preisner, poor guy, has to be known as Abby Martin's husband, but I have a clip of that. I'm sorry, I've got clips coming out of my ears. That's what I do. But this one isn't very long. It's specifically about Gabbard, but if you want to play it, cool, or we can go right into
I would like to play the Gabbard clip, but first I just want to ask you, do you feel that the assassination was more about Israel or more about other things he's calling out here like Russia, or do you think it had all to do with everything? What's your
I think
hunch
either
right now?
either or both
Mhm.
is likely. I mean, it could have been just our intel. You know, the more that Candace uncovers, she says there's a lot of military ties and people that she can't find history on. I mean, so this could completely be a CIA, hit. And I want to be clear, like I don't have any evidence of that, so I don't want to. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist here, but I think we see that the FBI isn't telling us what's being told is not accurate. So naturally, we're all going to start wondering and trying to figure out, who has motive. And I would say in this case, that would be both U.S. intel and clearly Mossad or Israel. So, but it's just an aspect I just don't think got enough attention. Is the U.S. intel side, but I kind of I just cringe when I hear he's saying I'm texting Tulsi and we'll see what happens. I would love to be proven wrong. There are a lot of people that believe that she's going to, expose all the Russiagate stuff. We know Comey's just been indicted, but I'll believe it when I see it.
That's not going to.
I don't think so. And I think he wasn't going to let it go. And he wanted answers for the Butler, Trump assassination attempt. And I think that he was seen as very dangerous because he had a tremendous influence on millions of people, millions of young people.
Yeah.
So
he was asking the right questions, right? Mm-hmm. And Butler comes up because you wonder, why would all of a sudden Trump say on record that he says that Iran tried to kill him? That doesn't make any sense. We looked at that like that's weird. Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. Like it was clearly something from the inside. And we talk about the security detail on Charlie Kirk, which he has said he's been on Bill Maher's show. He's told Bill Maher, they both agreed on this. And Bill Maher took it down, by the way, from his own website.
I have not seen that.
He had
Charlie Kirk was on Bill Maher's show?
So Charlie Kirk goes on his secondary show. He does this, where they're all kind of smoking weed and chilling. It's called like Bill Maher.
Right. I can't stand him. I actually paid to see that man in person. I can't stand him now.
Yeah. I actually was, I'm not even going to get it. There was a time when I was aligned with some people working on the show and I was this close to getting a job on the set. And I think that never happened. Yeah. That was a long time ago. When he first got to HBO, but anyways, the thing, the exchange, which seems so subtle. And so, because they were both apparently Zionists, or Charlie Kirk was by association, he had been or at least doing Zionist behavior until he started asking questions. Bill Maher is totally a Zionist. He doesn't have any reason. He will never ask a question about Israel. He will like put his boots in the ground on that forever. And that's just who he is. But with the two of them hanging out in that chill little space, the part that was taken out from the little interview was the part where they were both talking about Israeli security and how good they are. And Charlie's saying, my security is Israeli. I know how good they are. So all of the security questions that are happening, and it is very suspect that Bill Maher would edit that out of why would you edit that out? That seems like a very normal, hey, we like Israeli security. Oh yeah, they're really good. I know personally. Interesting enough that we're looking at the footage and we're looking at his security team and the shenanigans that took place and the confiscated footage, the SIM card being taken out, thrown, passed from guy to guy, put in someone's hat. This is his security team, who he's saying to Bill Maher is Israeli. So for me, it seems to always keep coming back to Israel, and obviously the FBI is. Well,
I mean, it could have been coordinated. It could have been a coordinated attempt. I mean, that would make the most sense.
Which is why I would say it makes sense. And this, again, it's not hard proof, but it's certainly evidence that Netanyahu is the first to tweet out his death. The Jerusalem Post is the first to print his death. How did he know it? Maybe he had direct communication with people that knew. Who would that be? Maybe the people in that van. Maybe those people are, like Charlie Kirk said himself, Israeli and have direct connections with Netanyahu. And that's why he was first to hear about it. And note, the U.S. Outlets did not report on it until after the Jerusalem Post posted it. That is a timeline fact.
And wasn't the tweet like Netanyahu and Trump posted on Twitter at the exact same time or something?
The first tweet, you know what? I got it right here. I'm going to put this one up. The very first tweet, and this is before he was officially declared dead. there was a tweet that both Trump, that you're referring to, Trump and Netanyahu are both tweeting out about praying for him at the exact minute. Here it is. This is the exact same minute. It was on the 10th at 3:02 p.m. Exactly the same minute. We all must pray for Charlie Kirk, who's been shot. A great guy from top to bottom. God bless him. Netanyahu praying for Charlie Kirk. Very strange. And then it was after the praying tweet, which was at the exact same minute, Netanyahu beat Trump to the punch, declaring him being dead. And then, like I said, the Jerusalem Post was first to print in print that he was officially declared dead. And so that
Utah Central time. I'm just thinking.
So the way the time works on this is whoever put this up, it's their timeline. So it's whoever. So it was captured at the exact. So I'm not seeing the time, but it probably is. I'm gonna guess East Coast.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Wherever the tweet was cropped from is. So I'm thinking East Coast time.
Well, right. Because it was Candace keeps saying it's 12:20, whatever.
Yes, because that's Mountain Time.
Right, Mountain Time. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways.
But that's still strange though. 3:02 would be.
Well, so 12:02 he was already shot. I think he would, right? No?
Right. So this must have been at 1:02 Utah time.
We need to check our timetables. Yeah. But the point is that this has been confirmed that this tweet went out at the exact same time. It was
simultaneous.
Yes.
That's the interesting part.
Yes.
Weird coincidence.
These are the questions we are asking, and it's just it's interesting that we're getting a lot of pushback and being told by a lot of people in our group, in our camp, that we need to be careful about all the people that are declaring Israel right now. So we need to be skeptical about that narrative. It's like, well, what about all this evidence? What do we do with all this?
Right. And I think the criticism that the gray zone, I mean, I think Max has been, I mean, you could say he broke the story, after talking to Candace, but I mean, he did say repeatedly, we don't know, we don't have evidence. All we can do is, like I said before, we're not getting the right stuff from the FBI. The story is very fishy. So we start looking at who has motive. Yeah. But I mean, we can't declare. I don't know. Are we ever going to know?
Well, we know that know the texting that was recreated by the FBI. We know that's fake. That's like I don't think we can ever, we're never going to get to the point where we agree that checks out. There's nothing about that checks out, and I think that's a good starting point. That's the conversation I had when I first went on. Was we were taking a break at the time, but I went on with Garland Nixon. We had a discussion about and we talked for like 45 minutes about just the text. There's so much there. Just the text, just what Kash Patel thought he could get away with sending us this crap.
He just looks scared.
He looks like a deer in headlights.
That's my opinion on that.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a part of this letter which hasn't been highlighted on Twitter, I've noticed. But I just stopped at the end of the sentence and went, ugh. I think it's the second image. Do you see this 8238? Do you want to get into the letter now?
Yeah, let's do the letter. I got the bigger one and then the smaller. Which one is it?
It's the smaller one.
Okay. All right. I got it right here. Here we go. So this is a
letter from Charlie Kirk to Netanyahu, and this is just one part of a paragraph that I cut out.
Okay. Israel has enormous capabilities, such as how you orchestrated your beeper bomb operation. Perhaps Israel can use some of that same ingenuity to more effectively fight the information war in the media, especially on social media. Israel is the Silicon Valley of the Middle East.
I just I don't know, my heart just kind of went just the fact that he mentioned the beeper bomb operation, because I just last night started really kind of considering, I heard something about people saying, oh, maybe it was a mic explosion and instead of a shot. Have you looked into that at all?
Well, yeah, that's absolutely on the table.
Okay.
Because we have these, we know the technology exists. It would line up with the way his body moved. It would line up with why there's no bullet coming in from the back. I want to remind people that the coroner officially told us, and this is how you get all the Christian MAGAs on board for this, because they said he's basically was a Superman. And that's on record. That's not an analysis. Yeah. That's an official analysis. That's official.
It's absurd.
So, but the beeper theory gives a little more credibility to how you explain the mathematics of what actually happened. So obviously,
I didn't really take it seriously at first because I thought, well, surely people know. I guess now people really need to analyze the audio, like how, or was there that and a shot somewhere?
The audio we saw was there was a shot and there was another. There were two sounds at the exact within a milliseconds of each other, but they were certainly two separate sounds. And however they coordinated that was very precise. But if you look on, there's like a sound. I don't have it in front of me. But there's a sound you can see to the millisecond. It goes bump, and they're coming from specifically two different places. Bump.
Yeah.
So we've seen that.
I think a lot of the videos have now been pulled down, though, right? So
it's harder to find this stuff now.
We have to rely on the people that I guess grabbed it when they could.
So Kelley, I know this obviously is concerning to see something like this from someone who we're saying there's a chance that he might have been killed by the same thing that's being listed in this letter as an opportunity to use this type of technology, and then it ends up getting used against him. It is very tragic if you think of it that way. I, however, don't see that. I think the way I'm looking at this letter, and I'll let you respond to this, but from my analysis so far, going through the letter one time, my analysis is that this is completely faked letter, just like 100%. There's no.
It could be. We don't know. Yeah.
I'm not saying. I shouldn't use the expression 100%. That's more of an expression, not a proof. It's not proof, but everything is pointing to this looking suspect. Because
Okay, so I would just say, even if it is legitimate, I've noticed people focusing on just that he was basically he told Netanyahu to do exactly what he's trying to do now, which is take over TikTok, maybe X too, and do an information war. I mean, that's basically what Charlie Kirk was telling him. But I read it a little differently. It's he was trying to help him out, but I think he was kind of I'm tired of being your spokesperson, because he was in the letter, he goes into how he goes to college campuses, and what you want to pull up the bigger one. It just doesn't say all of that in this part.
Okay.
But, he lists off, I should have made it paragraph of that one too, but he lists off all the questions that he hears all the time from the students in the audience, about Israel. And he's almost sort of, to me, it seems like he's saying, hey, I don't really have all the proof of how to answer these questions, and I think you need to. He's kind of putting it back on Netanyahu. And that's not to say he does still make his declarations of whatever devotion to Israel and all of that. But then we know that other things happened after that, like him turning down a trip there and turning down some money. But this was the other paragraph that really blew me away. So he says Israel could do a better job explaining the Iranian threat. Among the many conservatives who support Israel, there's a concern that America could become entangled in a quagmire in Iran. My generation grew up with disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. We were promised there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which proved to be a lie. Our generation was also lied to by the governments of Israel and the U.S. Whoa. That COVID vaccines were safe and effective. Israel and intelligence missed the boat on October 7th. I mean, I don't know if you want to read the rest out loud, but he's really, I thought some of this was very, I don't know. I think it was pretty provocative, that he was saying to Netanyahu.
He's saying, we were asked to trust Israeli intelligence 100%. Iran is on the cusp of obtaining nuclear weapons.
Right.
Conservatives very skeptical. We don't fully trust intelligence assessment. Right now, it seems like Israel is primarily relying on America to make the case for attacking Iranian nuclear sites. These arguments get a lot of blowback in MAGA circles. Other than you, Prime Minister, I see very few Israelis making their case in the media, social media podcasts. Many agree with you, myself included, that Iran should not get nuclear weapons. At the same time, I share the concern that America will get sucked into another endless war, which is one of Tulsi's expressions, by the way, costing thousands of American lives. Where are the Israelis who are arguing their case to win over the public opinion. Israel should be making its case 24/7 on social media, including long-form English-speaking podcasts and social media channels and websites such as Rapid Response Team and ITN.
So that was the Israeli Truth Network or something that he proposed that Netanyahu do. Yeah. But what is he doing instead? It seems like he's just paying a lot of really bad influencers here to try to toe the line. I mean, I think he was putting something off on Netanyahu that he couldn't do, which is
this is justification for the seizure of these social media companies. That's what this is. Yeah. And I fully don't think this doesn't seem like an actual letter that was sent to Netanyahu by Charlie Kirk. I don't see it.
Yeah.
And let me do this, because this clip is, I need to circle back to this clip, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. This is Netanyahu's first appearance on a U.S. Station, which obviously is Fox News, or actually no, this is Newsmax. But this is a former Fox News person. But the point is, he's coming on September 11th of all dates, September 11th, to remind us who the threat really is, and to laugh it up.
I think I saw this.
He mentions this letter in the clip. It's very important, because listen, watch what he says about it.
Okay.
And remember, and let's look at the timeline. This is September 11th. This letter comes out earlier today, last night. A lot of days went by before he was ready to give us this information. Not to mention, there's no timestamp. I'll be very clear. There is no timestamp on this letter. Nothing there. Blacked out. Just to be clear. Here's him telling us about the letter so many days ago. Like, what is this? 19 days ago, he said this.
I let you go. I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second. But I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing it's not only insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things. That continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin. We're spreading disease. And people believed it, and every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust. Well, since then, we've learned, when people spread these lies about us, prepare yourself for the assault. And, they're trying to delegitimize the state of Israel. Charlie Kirk said to me that, he wrote me this detailed letter, you have to fight the slander. These untruths, these vilifications have consequences.
He wrote me a letter. Where's this letter? And why is there no follow-up on? Show us this letter. This is 19 days ago. Why did it take this long to release the letter? That's my first concern. And then my second concern is why I wake up this morning and see fellow journalists of mine, who I won't mention, you guys can go look yourself, who are saying this is breaking news. We finally got the real story. And I'm like, hold on, breaking news because Netanyahu gave us a letter? What? First of all, that's not breaking news that he supplied this information. That took him 19 days to give to us. I'm going to start at that point. We can break down the bullet points in it and look at how much of it aligns with Charlie, whatever. But the timeline doesn't make sense to me. And the fact that we're so quick to go, we just got this new information. Thank you, Netanyahu, for supplying it to us on day 19.
Well, I am really disappointed. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed in a lot of people on the left, independent media, that I feel like maybe just aren't. We need to set aside the fact that he said some awful stuff at some point. Okay, that's not the point here. The point is we're supposed to have freedom of speech, And if you are, in danger of being assassinated for doing that, and I think, again, what he was doing was kind of coming around and listening to the college students. And there could have been more of a left-right alignment. And we know that that is the most dangerous thing. That is the thing that the powers that be do not want to have happen. And so I was a little surprised to see some people sort of still engaging in that instead of focusing on what happened very recently with him. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to like the guy or mourn him, but just the fact that it was pretty clearly a political assassination is really terrifying. Hopefully, because we've got video, like the handoff, as you said, that what can they do? Can they just ignore it? I mean, the public, and it seems that on the right, there's a split. I don't know what the real percentages are there, but a lot of people on the right aren't buying this either. And they're not buying this Man of Steel stuff. And they are listening to Candace Owens. And to some, I guess, Megyn Kelly, I don't really follow where she stands right now on that.
Okay. So Megyn Kelly's staying a little silent, but she's upset that she's being told that she needs to disavow Candace, and she's like, "I'm not going to do that." So she's playing the neutral game. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, but stop harassing me game. So
But I'm curious, kind of what the real numbers are there on the right. But I don't think they're having it. And there's one guy I saw that was doing, like ballistics analysis, and he was like, what do they think? I mean, there's so many veterans in this country that no guns, and that's how they completely discredited the whole 30-06 thing right away, because they were like, that would blow an elk, to smithereens. Yep. So why they thought they could put this kind of thing over on this public now in 2025 is kind of shocking. So
I think those numbers are substantial. They're substantial enough for Netanyahu to now declare them the woke Reich. He's calling them.
Right.
Yeah. So he came up with that name because it's a large amount of people that are taking Candace's side and taking Tucker's side here, and saying, no, we're not going to be vilified here. We voted for America first, not Israel first. And so that's a loud voice. And how nice would it be if the left that were skeptical, because it's the first time I've ever seen the left asking questions that would be called conspiracy theory land, that they've been so against for so many years. They haven't had a question about anything since maybe they asked one question about 9/11 and then went back into their little holes. But that was it. Now they're actually saying, hey, this doesn't look right. This looks weird. Wouldn't it be nice to get them all together and say, hey, we all agree that we're being lied to about this. Let's do something about it. That would be awesome. But that doesn't seem
well, the other thing that's happened is we have Trump in office and there's still a genocide going on. So now they can look at it. They don't have to ignore it because Trump's doing it.
Well, whatever your motivation is, if that's enough because of your Trump derangement syndrome, fine. But at least get you in the vicinity and be loud. It's time to be loud about this stuff or whatever your motivation is.
Yeah. And I think, I just want to say it was part of so Matt Ho was my co-host for Candidates for Assange. You can go to the website and look at it. It's kind of on hold right now because I haven't renamed it. Sam Husseini and I've been talking about incorporating his vote pact idea, which is basically a pledge to not vote for the duopoly. Either, you kind of agree with someone that would have voted Republican to vote Libertarian. Anyway, you can go to votepact.org and look at that. But what was so great about that, all those panels Matt Ho and I did, we had over 70 candidates came on. I almost had Jill Stein, but I delayed too long to get her on. But we had Chase Oliver come on, we had Dennis Kucinich, and then we had a lot of just congressional candidates across the country, Greens and Libertarians mainly, agreeing on civil liberties topics, being anti-war, and it was wonderful. And they were it wasn't heated arguments, and there was some ribbing, about capitalism and whatnot, but it was a constructive project, and it was, to me, it was it gave me hope that I think there are more people in this country that are sick and tired of all of this, like just extremism, left, right, Democrat, Republican, and that if you really sit down with people, well, just kind of like what Charlie Kirk was saying about like on economics and stuff, that there are more things we agree on. So I don't know, maybe that means there's some hope, but the forces to try to keep the division going are so strong. The other thing too, I wanted to just say about, I guess there's just kind of debate of is Trump a victim or not? You know, like he just can't. Again, I think, can we tell the difference between CIA, Mossad? I mean, we don't really know. I mean, we know he had I don't feel sorry for him. I think he should stand up and do something. But there was an assassination attempt on him, and we don't really know the extent of what. I mean, I think Max reported something about surveillance devices put on Secret Service cars or something? I mean, we don't really know what's going on. So, do people really just all fear for their lives? I don't know.
Can we agree on this? Can we agree that no one can say 100% that Trump is controlled 100%? We can say it looks like he is being, but can we agree that when we suggest that Trump might be controlled by Israel and that the U.S. government itself, beyond Trump, is being controlled by Israel, and that's a legitimate theory, can we just agree that that's not giving cover, that's not giving excuses to someone for being a willing participant, for being a quote unquote victim? We don't want to use using the word victim is shaming us for having that theory. Because it's saying that the victim is innocent. We're not saying anybody's innocent in this equation. We're asking the question, who's in charge of things? So if you are a willing participant in that, you're also guilty. But it doesn't mean that we have to tippy-toe around it, because we might be giving cover to Trump, and people that hate Trump are going to be really angry about that because they want him to go down with the ship. It's like we're not alleviating his guilt. We're saying, look who's controlling the ship. It's pretty obvious to me what it looks like. I can't say 100% facts, but I can say it looks like we're being controlled by a foreign government. That's just my take.
I mean, just follow the money too. I mean, if look at Congress and I mean, I think, is it just Massey's? I guess MTG has now said she won't take any more. I think maybe in the past she had taken AIPAC money. I may be wrong on that.
Those are the only two. And they happen to be Republicans, but they're the only two.
Yeah, and I think if you're too fearful to speak out and say, "Hey, they're right on these couple of things," I don't know what to tell you. I mean, think independently. I'm kind of used to ticking off both sides, so it's what I do. But anyway.
Before I let you go, just I'm going to leave you with a film recommendation. This is just for fun because we got to keep things light. But if you ever heard of the movie Snake Eyes, I suggest go check out Snake Eyes.
I've heard it mentioned a lot lately, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's a 1998 film, a Nicolas Cage film. Gary Sinise is in it as well. Just a quick breakdown of the film. It actually is about the movie is about an assassination. Cover-up of the assassination. It takes place in a boxing ring that happens to be located in Atlanta, but not just any place in Atlanta. It's actually located at the Trump building. It's really interesting because this is in '98, so it's a Trump hotel in Atlanta that this boxing match takes place in. And get this, I'm not trying to spoil it, but during the boxing match, there's a senator whose name is Charles Kirkland, and he's killed during the boxing match, and he's shot in the neck. And the person they blame it on is the boxer in the ring, whose name is Lincoln Tyler, and he goes by the nickname the Executioner. You think that's crazy? The event in the film takes place on September 10th. I kid you not. And again, I said it was a Trump Taj Mahal location in Atlantic City.
Okay, are we in the Matrix?
We are literally in the Matrix. Somebody is suggesting predictive programming in '98, and that's a thing we're looking into what this means, predictive programming. It's something that's very interesting to kind of learn about. So I'm learning about that right now. But another note is that an executive producer on the film, and we talk about Hollywood films being corrupted by CIA and Israeli intelligence all the time, but one of
Read Sam Husseini's articles about that. Yeah.
But we know this happens all the time in Hollywood. We do it. We cover it like regularly. But one guy named Ernon Michelin was an ex-Israeli arms dealer and former intelligence officer who also coined the name Snake Eyes and made the film be called Snake Eyes because it was a personal reference. It was a little like Easter egg for himself, that it was a reference to his covert past as an Israeli spy and arms dealer. So that we know. That's on Google AI. It's probably been taken off since, but that was the actual Google AI reference to where they got the name from. And it's literally from this guy, Ernan Milshan, who was an Israeli arms dealer and former intelligence officer. So there you go, guys. Go check out the film. It should be a fun little getaway from the chaos we're living in, and just a little fun, nothing to see here film. Just if you want a little Nick Cage action packed film, that's the recommendation. Kelley,
okay, well, my parting words are: don't fall for the left-right division crap. You don't have to agree with everybody on everything. And you don't, of course, have to stand for any racist, really awful stuff people say. But you don't have to be like against every single person on the other side of the aisle. I mean, I just think that's the answer. So thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelley, for the amazing conversation today. And we'll have you back here again. Thank you so much. Okay,
cool. All right. Bye.
Okay, let me take a moment to introduce you to our good friends over at World Harvest Food Bank right here in LA. World Harvest has been serving families across Los Angeles for 18 years now, and they started with this simple idea. Everyone deserves access to healthy, affordable food no matter what they're going through. With their Cart with a Heart program, families can walk away with a full cart of groceries, fresh produce, dairy, meat, and pantry supplies for just a $50 contribution. That's for the entire cart. That same cart would cost over $300 at a typical grocery store. At World Harvest, everyone is welcome. They don't ask for income verification, ID, or any paperwork. No. Basically, their doors are open to anyone who's doing their best, but just needs a little extra push to get by. If you're an Angelino like me, you know the times have been tough here. First with all the union strikes, the LA fires, and now the ICE raids going on. It seems like we're living in a constant state of uncertainty. And that's why it's so important to support local charities like World Harvest, because they aren't just helping the community. They're an essential function in its very survival. World Harvest is located at Venice and Arlington. And right now, you can use our special discount code THL20 for 20% off your contribution amount at checkout. And if you're not in the LA area, you can still help out with a $50 donation, which will provide a full cart of food for a family by going to worldharvestfoodbank.org or scan the QR code for more info. Or you can just spread the word. Follow them online. Let people know they're here for them, because at the end of the day, it's about providing choice, access, and relief without barriers. World Harvest Food Bank. End hunger now.